Do you struggle with knowing how to get motivated? Maybe you're currently in a slump and you feel stuck and lost as to moving forward to the next step. Finding motivation can be tough, but with a little push and perseverance, you can learn how to get motivated. The thing is that motivation is not never ending. In fact, it's very finite, and it can be frustrating when you know you have to or want to do something, but you just can't find the will to get started. I know that every single one of you has been there because this is a very human experience. And you're not lazy for losing motivation, you're normal. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing 10 easy tips to help you get motivated right now. Welcome to Calmly Coping. I'm your host, Tati Garcia. I'm a licensed therapist and a high-functioning anxiety coach. Calmly Coping is the podcast for people who struggle with anxiety and high-functioning anxiety. Each Wednesday, you'll hear informative episodes with actionable tips about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy so you can live a calm and balanced life. Let's get started. This is episode number 53, 10 Ways to Get Motivated Right Now. Welcome back, and welcome if you're a first-time listener. Thank you so much for tuning in. The tips that follow can help you find that spark, whether it is a huge task or a small one. You have to start somewhere, and the thing is that usually getting started is the hardest part. So these little pushes can help you find that forward momentum you need to get started and start feeling motivated. So tip number 10, I'm moving backwards, is to watch inspiring or motivational videos. So this can just include searching YouTube for motivational videos. I can't tell you how many times I've done this, especially when I don't feel like going for a run in the morning. I queue up running motivation, and somehow watching other people triumph in running helps me get out the door. So pick a specific topic or just look into general motivational videos to pump you up. So this could be studying motivation, work motivation, cleaning motivation, workout motivation, eating healthy motivation, etc. So I actually just did this past weekend and I didn't feel like cleaning, so I searched for cleaning motivation, and apparently there's tons of people who post videos like this. And after watching just 30 seconds of it, it really helped me to get motivated. I got up and I started cleaning. And I'm not positive about this, but I believe this may be because of what we have in our brains that are called mirror neurons. So mirror neurons are essentially when you're watching somebody do something, your brain is actually behaving as though you're doing that action yourself. And so I believe that watching somebody do something is actually going to help you get more motivated, because then your brain is behaving as though you're doing it yourself, and you're kind of getting started with that getting started part that is the hardest. This is just my personal opinion, but it makes a lot of sense. So tip number 9 is to take it one step at a time. One of the biggest things that stops people from getting started is the fact that a task seems so huge and daunting. The magnitude of the task in your head then causes you to keep putting it off because it just seems so overwhelming. So break down the task to only the first step and just do that one step. Or if you're feeling overwhelmed with a ton of new habits that you want to start, just implement one habit at a time. Starting small can help you get the motivation to get started, and often that getting started will turn into forward momentum to help you continue. So an example might be, instead of jumping into healthy eating and working out 5 days a week from not doing anything, start small and just try working out 2 to 3 days a week first, and then once you have that habit in place, gradually ramp it up until you feel ready to change your eating habits. Tip number 8 is to write it down. The simple act of writing down your end goal can make it more concrete. So post it up on your refrigerator, the wall next to your desk, create a vision board with magazine cutouts, or make a Pinterest board with inspiration. Do whatever works for you and will give you a positive reminder when you see it. Tip number 7 is to visualize. So this is when you imagine yourself accomplishing your goal. Imagine the process, the outcome, and all of the sensations and emotions you will experience in between. The process of imagining success and pushing through when you lack motivation or have a failure will help you persist when the going gets tough and your motivation is lagging. You can read all about this because actually Olympic performer Michael Phelps has used visualization to help him become a peak performer. And we're going to leave a link to that article in case you're interested in reading more about it in the show notes. Tip 6 is to squash your self-doubt. You are your own worst critic. So take a look inside and identify where your self-doubt lies so that you can conquer it. Everybody experiences moments of self-doubt, and this often gets in the way of motivation and success, but only if you allow it to. So identify your self-doubt, challenge it, and move forward towards success. And now I'm just going to take a quick break for my sponsor for this episode. If you want to learn more about my step-by-step process to say goodbye to overwhelm, then make sure you click on the links in the show notes or go to calmlycoping.com/overwhelm. I have a free guide that's going to help you dive deeper on how to get all of those thoughts and overwhelming what ifs out of your head. And this guide will walk you step by step through the process to completely organize your tasks and thoughts so you can prioritize what's most important and take intentional, focused action. So make sure you click on the link in the show notes or go to calmlycoping.com/overwhelm. All right, now let's talk about tip number 5, which is to look to your mentors. So whether it is a parent, a boss, a friend, a celebrity, an entrepreneur, an online influencer, I can guarantee you that each and every one of your mentors has experienced a lack of motivation. So find support or guidance from them personally or via their content with how they have conquered a lack of motivation, because they're just human, and if they've done it, then you can do it too. Tip number 4 is to declutter your space. Now, I know this might seem so unrelated, but a cluttered space is really a cluttered mind. And sometimes the disorganization in your living space, in your office, or on your desk can increase your overwhelm and stop you from getting started. Taking a few minutes to clean and organize can help you start with a fresh mind so you can get right into things without the distraction of clutter. Tip number 3 is to make things fun. And this is helpful, especially if this is a task that you really don't want to do. Find a small way to make things a little more interesting so that it turns into something you can enjoy instead of an arduous task. For example, I enjoy listening to podcasts while I clean. So this takes my focus off of the often non-enjoyable task of cleaning, at least for me. I know there's some people who like cleaning, which is awesome for you. And this gives me something to look forward to. And it can also count as double productivity points if I'm gaining some knowledge or tips from the podcast. So typically, I try to avoid advocating for multitasking. But in this situation, I think it is different than multitasking because there's some tasks that you're able to do that do not require intense thought or focus, like something that you're doing like cleaning or mowing the lawn or going for a run or anything else that you can listen to podcast or music or audio while you're doing it. I think that's a great opportunity to implement that multitasking because you're not necessarily constantly task switching, but you're doing something physically with your body and then your mind is focusing on listening to something else. And this can be helpful to get you that motivation. Tip 2 is to remember your why. Sometimes feeling unmotivated can make it easy to forget what is truly important to you and why you want to begin that task at hand. So when you're struggling with how to get motivated, think back to your why. Why do you want to do well in school? Why do you want to blog? Why do you want to eat healthy? Why do you want to have a successful career? Whatever the goal, you have a reason. So reflect and use that as your little piece of motivation. And tip number 1 is that you don't need motivation. Yes, I know it seems counterintuitive, but you don't need motivation to get things done. Many times motivation comes afterwards or not at all. If everybody waited for motivation to come before doing things, then nothing would get done. So the most important thing is taking action when it matters because nobody else will do it for you. I hope this episode helped you find at least one way to get motivated if you're currently in a slump or next time you find yourself in one. If you're interested in diving deeper and getting one-to-one support and accountability to help you reach your goals while decreasing overwhelm, anxiety, and overthinking so you can maximize your potential, then you can learn more about working with me in coaching at calmlycoping.com/coaching. If you found this podcast informative, then please leave me a review on iTunes, letting me know your thoughts. And while you wait for next week's episode, I have other episodes about decreasing anxiety, adopting a healthy mindset, and managing your time and energy. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and until next time, be calm. Thanks so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please share this episode with a friend, and please subscribe and leave me a review on iTunes. Also, remember to check me out online at calmlycoping.com and connect with me on Instagram at TatianaGLPC. All content here is for informational purposes only. This content does not replace the professional judgment of your own mental health provider. Please consult a licensed mental health professional for all individual questions and issues. Till next time, I'm Tati, and this has been Calmly Coping.